Steve here.
And Larson.
In the wake of Grand Theft Auto 3's massive success back in 2001, countless open-world crime games flooded the market.
Few of these games met with the critical or financial success of GTA, and even fewer have managed to stick around.
One of the few that has is Saints Row, which has evolved from its criminal roots to become one of the most bonkers franchises in gaming.
And you may recall that we did an episode of 10 for the Win on things that you should know about Saints Row, which you can watch here if you want.
Yeah. But between the release of Saints Row 4 last year and the imminent release of the Gat Out of Hell expansion, we thought there would have to be more miscellaneous facts we could conjure up.
Are there?
I hope so, otherwise this isn't going to be much.
So here you go. Here are some more random things that you should know about Saints Row.
The birth of the Saints Row franchise takes us all the way back to 2003, when a small team at Volition started work on a PlayStation 2 exclusive open-world title named Bling Bling.
Even in its early stages, the game sought to give players almost unlimited flexibility in how they undertook missions within the open world of Stillwater. And that element was retained when it made the transition to next gen, switching development away from the PlayStation 2 and towards Microsoft's Xbox 360.
Newly dubbed Saints Row, the game made its public debut at E3 2005 as an Xbox exclusive.
The game's first trailer teased the open-world gangland warfare and massive customization features players were anticipating. Blessed with being the first open-world title in the newly released 360, players were horny for some Saints Row. So much so that 4 weeks prior to the game's street date of August 29, 2006, the Saints Row demo was downloaded a record 350,000 times on its first week on Xbox Live.
That's a lot of times.
Yeah.
While the GTA comparisons were unavoidable, Saints Row managed to garner largely positive reviews, even winning the esteemed and prestigious Most Surprisingly Good Game Award from GameSpot in 2006.
It's a major award! One aspect of Saints Row that was unsurprisingly good was the quality of its voice performances, which featured a wealth of Hollywood all-stars.
You had Keith David as Julius, Lost's Daniel Day Kim as Johnny Gat, Michael Rappaport, and Michael Clark Duncan as Benjamin King.
Duncan was all set to reprise his role in Saints Row 4 and had already started recording his lines when he died due to a heart attack in September 2012.
It's a big bummer. While his part was recast, with Terry Crews now voicing King, Duncan was posthumously credited for his voice work, and he appeared during the cast's rousing version of Biz Marquis' classic, Just a Friend, during the game's closing credits as a memorial.
Of course, Saints Row wasn't the only open-world crime game to feature a huge A-list cast. Grand Theft Auto has been attracting some of Tinseltown's finest since it made the leap to 3D. I mean, hell, they got Phil Collins in a game!
Barry, is everything sorted for tonight?
So far, 3 actors have been involved in both Saints Row and Grand Theft Auto.
The aforementioned Michael Rappaport showed up in GTA 3, Burt Reynolds has been in Vice City and Saints Row the Third, and Gary Busey has lent his, off-kilter stylings to both series.
Yeah, he voiced Phil Cassidy in Vice City, and later starred in a string of promotional videos for Saints Row 2 entitled Street Lessons with Uncle Gary.
Cause if anybody knows the streets, it's Gary Busey.
Well, he knows what the streets taste like. Dude practically destroyed his face in a motorcycle accident back in the 80s.
It's probably no coincidence that Busey was brought on to host these videos. With Saints Row 2, Volition started to introduce a bit of craziness to the series, and there's probably no better mascot for that than Gary Busey.
Granted, Saints Row 2 wasn't yet reaching for the same absurd heights as the titles that would follow it, but it was the first game in the series to seriously mix the realistic with the ridiculous.
And when the time came to develop the narrative for Saints Row the Third in 2008, Volition faced a fork in the road, whether to pursue the more grounded direction used in Saints Row 1, or to follow through with the balls-to-the-wall madness they introduced in Saints Row 2. At first, they decided to go with a more down-to-earth approach. The story was to center on an undercover cop controlled by you, the player, who would infiltrate the Saints. But after 6 months, this idea was scrapped and the development team started from scratch. As lead designer Scott Phillips put it was interesting, but it wasn't a Saints Row game.
Instead, the devs went all in on ridiculousness, turning the franchise into the over-the-top, irreverent, satirical enterprise that it is today, and by doing so, found a way to escape the comparisons to GTA.
And that decision paid off. Saints Row the Third sold almost as many units as Saints Row 1 and 2 combined. So, when it came time to begin work on Saints Row 4, Volition doubled down on the crazy and tried to make it more but better. But as bonkers as the final result was, it could have been much, much much more ridiculous.
Yeah, imagine a reality where Stephen Colbert is president, Meryl Streep cameos in some respect, people can ride fire-breathing dragons and shoot hammer-wielding monkeys from the aptly named Monkey Gun.
And while this Matrix riffing game world we got was pretty cool, it's a bummer that none of this stuff was for various reasons, including the Saints Row 4.
I wish that reality was also absent pixelation, so I could revel in the glory of my character's nudity.
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah, maybe we'll get that in Gat Out of Hell. Volition has to outdo themselves. Somehow, I'm thinking maybe fully exposed balls, shaft, bell end. So there you go. There's some random facts about Saints Row. What do you guys love about the Saints Row franchise? It really has distanced itself from GTA, you know?
Yeah,
back in the day.
No more can you say it's a GTA clone. It's its own thing now.
It's kind of the court gesture of video games now.
Good way of putting it.
Yeah.